Good morning to all ladies and gentlemen, honorable adjudicators and esteemed opponents. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Zidan from the government's team and I'm hereby speaking as the Prime Minister. And I would like to give out my sense on the motion of this House will heavily tax manufacturing corporations that automate majority of their workforce. In recent times, factories are replacing manpower with machines at high rates all over the world, especially in first world countries like the USA, China, Germany and the UK. While this increases efficiency and reduces costs for corporations, it can also take away millions of jobs, especially low to medium skilled employments that entire communities depend on. The impact left due to the automation of jobs in manufacturing factories is large to the working class. It leaves them devastated economically and makes them unemployed. Yes, while these corporations save billions of dollars by minimizing labor costs, the burden of retraining welfare and social safety nets falls severely on governments and taxpayers, which leads to unsustainability. Henceforth, we propose a heavy tax policy on manufacturing corporations that automate the majority of their workforce as an economic correction to protect society's well-being and fund transitions for the displaced workers. First of all, what is automation? Especially on the context of workforce replacement. Automation is the implementation of technology, computer programs, robots, or any other man-made processes in order to create a product with minimum human input. The phrase majority of the workforce refers to the humans who work in these manufacturing corporations that do the jobs of handling, maintaining, and of course, manufacturing all of the products. So, ladies and gentlemen, we hereby stand in support of this motion as the government team, the reason being that replacing our well-paid manpower who have gotten used to manufacturing products with all of the robots or machines, that will lead to an absolutely devastating scar onto the lives of these workers. In the economical point of view for these workers, it can destroy their livelihood, having poverty struck or being miserable for their lives since their jobs had been stripped away from their lives and replaced with machines in the name of efficiency. So please, ladies and gentlemen, try to put yourselves in the shoes of those hardworking men who have sacrificed their blood, sweat and tears making products with their own hands and getting the pay that they deserve. Suddenly, you heard that the company you're working for is going to replace the manpower with machines or robots. Now, what comes into your mind? Yes, the thought of mass layoffs or job displacement. Losing your livelihood. Now that's just sad. You're either going to get kicked out of the corporation that you're working at, or you're forced to work in insecure or underpaid gig works. Your pride that comes within your craft was taken away by robots or machines. We all know and see the dexterity of the manufacturing machines speedily making products. But the thing that doesn't come in with machinery or automation work is feeling and the hardships that the workers have to endure. So in short, the rich owners of these corporations benefit from efficiency, while on the other hand, the poor working class suffer the cost of progress. The effects that are done through the automation of manual jobs in manufacturing companies in our society is that the traditional route from being the lower working class transitioning into the middle class will disappear, and that new job opportunities will become limited, heavily competitive, or require expensive education. Furthermore, the towns and or cities built around manufacturing jobs, especially in rural regions, will fall into decay, which leads to the society in those particular regions to social unrest, having increased crime rates, and even political extremism. The impact to the economy for the public is that with fewer people earning a stable income due to job displacement, consumer spending drops, which hurts businesses across sectors, and that also includes the very corporations that are using automation in order to replace majority of these workers. Public resources are stretched thin to provide welfare, mental health care, job retraining, and housing. And guess who also pays or foots the bill? The very taxpayers who lost their jobs to automation. So in short, the workers lost their jobs, purpose, and income, society fractures, more inequality and instability. The economy becomes top-heavy. Corporations earn lots of profits, while the state carries the cost. For example, in China, the main manufacturer for Apple has replaced over 60,000 workers with robots in a single facility. Local officials were then alarmed at the speed and scale of the job losses. Plus, to top it all off, Bill Gates publicly proposed a robot tax, which says that companies should pay tax equal to the workers' income tax if the company replaces human workforce with machines. So, if one of the richest men in tech says that machinery or robots should be taxed, you know that it's not a bright idea. Ladies and gentlemen, some of the esteemed opponents in the opposing team might ask, what are the benefits of highly taxing the corporations then? Well, we have got the answers. Heavily taxing corporations that replace manpowers with machines can redistribute wealth and responsibility. We've spoken that such companies gain huge profits by reducing labor costs in automation. Taxation forces them to interiorize those external costs, like, for example, paying back into the system that they disrupted. And it also reduces income inequality. The money that was collected can be used to support the displaced workers by giving them healthcare or larger support. By giving heavy taxation to those corporations who replaced the workers with automation, this evens the scales between the elite few and struggling many. We can also use the money that was given through the corporations that automate its workers to fund government-run or subsidized programs to retrain the displaced workers into tech, green energy, or service jobs. This helps transform the lower-class population into future-ready professionals by empowering social and economic mobility. Ladies and gentlemen, yet another benefit that is given through heavy taxation of manufacturing corporations that automate majority of its workforce is that it stabilizes communities. It reinvests in areas that suffered because of mass automation. The tax revenue can be directed to infrastructure, local education, healthcare services in those affected regions. So it keeps the once thriving towns from turning into a wasteland. So, ladies and gentlemen, by heavily taxing companies who choose to automate the majority of their workforce, we do not stop their progress. We guide it to a better future where humans who have manufacturing skills have better self-worth and plentiful use for the economic growth or development of the betterness of society. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time.